Ladies and gentlemen, the New Orleans Saints, led by quarterback Derek Carr, keep making some insane moves prior to training camp. We will give you the latest updates on Michael Thomas, plus a familiar face is returning to Louisiana. And there are some key camp battles that we gotta pay attention to heading into the 2023 season. The big question around the Saints is their receiving core. Will they get star wide receiver Michael Thomas back, and will he be at 100%? We've seen him play in spurts. Last year, he popped off in the limited time he was able to play, but injuries continue to get this guy. However, we have a positive update about him. You see him at media days stoked about the season, taking some pics and flexing. And he seems so pumped up about the season. At the start of training camp, he posts what a time it is to be a New Orleans Saint. And Thomas knows there's doubters, there's people doubting his health, and he says that he feeds off that pain and he will always be straight. And it looks like Michael Thomas is delivering on that promise to be healthy this year and help the Saints compete. Head coach Dennis Allen gave the update today that he is going to be a full participant as training camp opens. He is going to have no restrictions.
Yeah, our expectation is that Mike's going to be a full participant. Did his physical, went through the conditioning test, looked great.
And Michael Thomas said this around minicamp. He said this a little while back.
Going for training camp, we're going to be ready for training camp first day one, out there with the team, ready to go full speed, just like the old days and what everyone's used to.
But now the proof is in the pudding. Michael Thomas is ready to go. The projected starters for this receiving core is former first-round pick Chris Olave, the speedster Rashid Shaheed, and then Michael Thomas. With him healthy, man, this is a complete receiving core that can compete in the NFC South, and you also have some depth behind him. Keep in mind, James Washington, the former Steeler, is still on the team, along with Traquan Smith, and you also have Brian Edwards, who has that connection with Derek Carr from his time with him with the Raiders. And you also have A.T. Perry, the former 6th-round pick wide receiver out of Wake Forest. He's been struggling a little bit in OTAs and minicamp, but we know that no pad stuff barely matters. Maybe he's going to show once the pads get on why he was considered a sleeper late-round pick for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints also picked up a 5-time Pro Bowler guard, and that is none other than Trey Turner, who is returning home to New Orleans. That's where he's originally from, and that's where he attended high school. He was drafted in 2014 in the 3rd round by the Carolina Panthers, and he's bounced around since then and was most recently with the Washington Commanders. But this guy does provide some great depth and competition for the New Orleans Saints in their interior offensive line. Head coach Dennis Allen claims that the signing is not related to the health situation of guard Cesar Ruiz. Keep in mind, the Saints did decline Ruiz's 5th-year option. Hopefully Ruiz can be healthy, but Trey Turner is definitely going to have a possibility to compete. And also keep in mind, Trevor Penning, yes, he's a 1st-round pick who you want to see work out, but the Saints also have James Hurst, who I would not be surprised get some playing time if Penning is not ready to go. And the shocking move that happened this morning out of freaking nowhere, this is completely unbelievable. The future Hall of Famer, the 36-year-old Jimmy Graham, former New Orleans Saint, who was drafted in the 3rd round in 2010 by the Saints and led the league in receiving touchdowns in 2013 for New Orleans. The 5-time Pro Bowler Jimmy Graham will be signing with the New Orleans Saints. This is not a joke. This is not a meme. This is completely real. And the reason this is so shocking is because the Saints have already committed a multi-year contract to Foster Moreau. They also have Juwan Johnson, who's expected to get a lot of playing time and be the #1 tight end for this football team. The head coach Dennis Allen claims that this is not related to any health issues on the team, so he just wanted to add Jimmy Graham. And you also have general manager Mickey Loomis saying that the Saints were a destination that Jimmy Graham wanted to go to. He wanted to return home.
Hey guys, I'm back home. Incredible to be here, back in this building, back with the guys. Can't wait to see you at training camp. Can't wait to see you in the Superdome. Looking forward to every second, every moment of it.
And this is so weird for the Saints, but you cannot deny that veteran presence. And when you're looking at this team in the red zone, if you already got Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, some weapons at wide receiver, you add Jimmy Graham there as a 3rd tight end, he could be a dangerous weapon in short space. And this reminds me of the 2020 Raiders with Derek Carr when they randomly signed Jason Witten out of nowhere. He was the 3rd tight end, but got some playing time because Foster Moreau was returning from injuries. The Raiders had Darren Waller, and look, Jason Witten was able to teach some guys some things and was able to make some key receptions in the red zone. So even though this move is a little bit of a head scratcher, apparently it's not health related to any of the other tight ends, and it seems like Jimmy Graham Ram personally believes in the Saints, thinks they're going to do something special this year, or else why would he waste his time with them? Because he did not play for a team last year. He could easily head into retirement and just chill, but he wants to play one more year with this team, a team that he likely thinks is going to do some special things this year. And the hype is continuing on the defensive side of the football. You got the safety Jonathan Abram, former Raiders first round pick, also returning home to New Orleans, and he's still wearing black, but just a different color. It's going to be gold instead of silver. And you're looking at the safety room right now. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May are going to be great safeties on this team, but you got some serious depth behind them with Jonathan Abram and Jordan Howden for the Saints this year. And I think there's a lot of depth on this defense, especially in the secondary. Only question is going to be linebacker. Outside of Werner and Davis, you don't really have somebody that you're fully confident in. And then even on the defensive line, it's a lot of new faces outside of Cam Jordan and Granderson. And even Cam Jordan is wondering, are we going to bring in another vet defensive tackle or another edge? And that's a little odd for him to say, but it must seem like he's anticipating some more competition being brought in just to build the depth of that defensive line. And Derek Carr is stoked heading into his first season with the Saints, and he even had him at this golf tournament, also shooting some hoops here, and the crowd going wild. Derek Carr showing that he could also maybe be point guard in addition to quarterback. And Carr had media day, and he was taking some pictures, posting him in a Saints uniform in black and gold. But what was interesting was to see the reaction from players on his football team to this photo. You have former Raider Jonathan Abram, DC4L with the Saints logo, hyping it up. And then you have receiver Chris Olave dropping a devil emoji right here. Uh-oh, come on, Chris Olave. We all know Derek Carr's a Saint. He's not a sinner. But I do like this tone. Carr's sort of a sleeper. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. You have people doubting him. Obviously, his former team let him go. But the Saints receiving corps believes they have a steal. You got Rashid Shaheed saying, let's rock out for. And then you even have some Raiders fans saying, real Raiders fans miss you already. And why couldn't we get rid of McDaniels instead? Head coach Dennis Allen was also asked about running back Alvin Kamara. We know Kamara got his charges reduced to just a misdemeanor, and he just had to pay a little settlement. We don't know what the league discipline is for him yet. And it seems like the Saints do not expect to know anytime soon, but based on the sentence that he did receive, it seems like it's going to be a light suspension from the NFL, if any at all. But training camp is starting now. We're going to see Derek Carr connecting with his wide receivers in full pads, and we're also going to be able to take a look at this defense, especially the new additions on the defensive line. How are they going to gel? Scrimmages are going to be around the corner. The NFC South is likely going to be one of the more interesting divisions in the NFL because it's completely up for grabs. We'll keep you up to date with everything happening with this division and with this team. Make sure you like this video if you have not yet, and subscribe to this channel for more NFL content. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.